Smile at me, disrespectful, bro. Did you get cracked? Did you get cracked?
Blacc Sam already called out Rockstar 2800, and now he's coming straight for Snoop Dogg. The confrontation is explosive. Sam accuses him of shady alliances and of knowing more about Nipsey's murder than he ever admitted. So, did Snoop really play a role in Nipsey's death? From what we've seen, yes, I got all the details. Let's break it down. The street investigation that exposed hip-hop's biggest players. When Blacc Sam started peeping game after his little brother got smoked, he began connecting dots that had him questioning everything he thought he knew about loyalty in the hip-hop streets. What started as a brother trying to make sense of senseless violence turned into a full-blown investigation that would expose some grimy truths about who's really riding and who's just fronting when the cameras are rolling. The relationship between Nipsey Hussle and Snoop Dogg looked real solid from the outside, you feel me? Snoop Dogg, a Long Beach Crip and West Coast rap icon, met Hussle in the mid-2000s through LA's hip-hop scene. As a rolling 60s Crip, Hussle looked up to Snoop, who was 14 years older and a global star. Both of them was banging Crip, both from LA, and on the surface it seemed like they had that authentic big homie little homie relationship. They had worked together on tracks, shared stages, and Snoop often spoke highly of Hussle's community efforts and described him as like a little brother. When Nipsey got killed, Snoop was right there with the tears, speaking at the memorial service, talking about how much love he had for the young king.
This the G'est shit he ever did. They was doing Straight Outta Compton movie, right? So Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all them niggas calling me. Man, we trying to get Nip to play you in Straight Outta Compton. He ain't getting back to us. All right, let me holler at the little homie. Boop, I hit him up. Nip, let me holler at you, pull up on me. He come over to the spot. God, they want you to play me in the Straight Outta Compton movie. I'm happy as a motherfucker to tell him. He like, no disrespect, big homie, but I can't play you in the movie because then people gonna just know me for being you. I gotta be me, and that's with all due respect. I was like, damn, I was gangster as a motherfucker. I called him and I said, "Cuz, y'all gotta go find somebody else, cuz."
This story Snoop tells about Nipsey turning down the opportunity to play him in Straight Outta Compton shows. The respect game between them was real, but when Sam started doing his homework on what really went down before and after his brother's death, he started seeing some snake shit that had him questioning everything about who was really solid and who was just playing politics. But as Sam dug deeper into the circumstances surrounding his brother's murder, he began to question the loyalties of cats who claimed to love Nipsey. His suspicions weren't just about Eric Holder, the fool who pulled the trigger. They extended to a whole network of industry players who, Sam believed, had the power to prevent the tragedy, but chose to stay quiet and play both sides of the fence. The controversy between Blacc Sam and Snoop Dogg stems from a perceived betrayal tied to Snoop Dogg's associations and actions following Nipsey Hussle's murder in 2019. At the center of this street investigation is Snoop's ongoing relationship with Eugene Big U Henley, a figure that Sam and the rest of Nipsey's circle been side-eyeing heavy since day one. Multiple sources report that Blacc Sam's loss of respect for Snoop Dogg is primarily due to Snoop's continued association with Big U, a known figure in South Los Angeles with alleged ties to the circumstances surrounding Nipsey's murder.
And Big U had Nipsey Hussle killed, nigga. Everybody know that. Everybody know Big U, nigga, called that hit.
While ain't nobody got concrete proof linking Big U directly to the hit, speculation within the hip-hop community and among Nipsey's supporters has fueled distrust. And when you're really in the streets, sometimes the word on the block carries more weight than what's in the police reports. The relationship between Big U and Nipsey was some real complicated street politics, the type of drama that can get deadly real quick. A 2016 incident involving Blacc Sam, Nipsey Hussle, and Big U has been widely discussed online, and this is where the story gets real grimy. According to reports, Big U confronted Hussle over a dispute involving recording equipment in a diss track Hussle made. This wasn't just some industry disagreement. This was about respect, territory, and the type of politics that can get you smoked in these streets. The situation escalated to some real gangster shit when Big U assaulted Hussle, Sam, and their father, Dawit Asgadom, in an alley near Marathon Clothing. Now, when a grown man puts hands on another man's pops, that's crossing lines that can't be uncrossed. Sam reportedly fired a warning shot to stop the attack, prompting LAPD intervention. That warning shot wasn't just about stopping a fight, it was Sam letting Big U know that the Asgadom family wasn't to be played with.
Now, how did it make you feel when rumors started circulating around the internet that you may have had something to do with his death a couple of years ago? I know you said that your family took it real bad, but how did it make you feel?
Yeah, it was hard on my family more than anything. Let me tell you what's crazy. I think 2 days after he was killed, Suge called me, and Suge said, "Get ready." And I'm like, "Get ready for what?" And he was like, "Because they're going to blame you." Man, they got the dude who did it. Like, why the fuck would they blame me? Because it just didn't make sense to me. And you got to remember, I was gone when they blamed Suge for Pac, and they blamed Diddy for Big, and they blamed I was gone, so I don't know all this. I'm gone.
While Big U later confirmed the altercation was over gangbanging politics, not money or music, and claimed he and Hustle reconciled by late 2016. Anybody who really know the streets understand that some beefs don't just disappear because niggas shake hands for the cameras. But here's where it gets really interesting for all the hip-hop heads. Federal investigators noted a relationship between Big U and Nipsey Hussle that began around 2008, but soured over disputes regarding equipment at Big U's shop. The disagreement reportedly escalated to violence, requiring police intervention. So the feds been watching this situation way before Nipsey got killed, which makes you wonder what else they knew and when they knew it. Now here's where Snoop gets dragged into this mess. Snoop was mentioned in connection to Big U only through the Hip Hop Uncovered docuseries, where he provided commentary on Big U's reputation. In the 2021 FX docuseries Hip Hop Uncovered, Snoop Dogg described Big U as institutionalized and short-tempered, but also credited his leadership skills. Now, to the average suburban hip-hop fan, this might seem like nothing, but when you really from the streets, you understand that publicly praising a nigga who got beef with your dead homie's family is some real snake behavior. It's like attending the funeral and then going to dinner with the enemy. It just don't sit right with real ones. But for Sam, Snoop's public comments about Big U weren't even the main issue. It was about what Snoop allegedly knew and when he knew it, and more importantly, what he chose to do with that information. Former Death Row rapper SKG claimed in a March 2025 TMZ interview that Big U was involved in arranging Nipsey Hussle's murder. Now, these claims ain't been verified, but in the streets, sometimes the word carries weight even before the paperwork catches up. Blacc Sam reportedly expressed that Snoop's ongoing relationship with Big U as a betrayal, given Snoop's public support for Nipsey during his lifetime. The perception from the hood was that Snoop was trying to play both sides of the fence, crying at funerals while staying cool with cats that the family viewed as potentially involved in the murder. That's some real political shit that don't fly when you're supposed to be keeping it 100. This wasn't just about personal loyalty. This was exposing a pattern of behavior in the hip-hop industry where maintaining business relationships and industry connections often takes precedence over doing what's morally right. Sam's broader disputes with music manager Wack 100, who has clashed with Sam over the handling of Nipsey's unreleased music, indirectly implicates Snoop through industry connections. It's all connected when you really start pulling threads. The situation got even more complex when you consider Nipsey's final tweet before his death. Having strong enemies is a blessing. This cryptic message, posted just hours before his murder, suggested that Nipsey was hip to some threats against him. Threats that, according to Sam's investigation, went way beyond just Eric Holder's personal issues. What made Sam's street investigation particularly damaging to Snoop's reputation was the timing and the hypocrisy. Here you got Snoop, who delivered a moving speech at Nipsey's funeral, who talked about carrying on Nipsey's legacy, yet he stayed connected to figures that Nipsey's own blood viewed as enemies. Sam's comment that someone else is holding the before trailing off, suggesting possible suspicions of additional involvement or influences behind the murder, hinted at a conspiracy that went way deeper than what came out in court. The implications of what Sam was investigating were staggering for the culture. If true, they suggested that Nipsey's murder wasn't just some random street beef over snitching allegations, but part of a larger pattern of violence and intimidation designed to maintain power structures within the LA hip-hop scene. And if Snoop knew about these dynamics and chose to remain silent, or even worse, continue his associations with the alleged perpetrators, then his public mourning of Nipsey would be exposed as pure performance art. But Sam's investigation was just the beginning. The evidence he was uncovering would soon force him to take public action that would shock the hip-hop community and put everyone on notice that the days of playing politics with Nipsey's legacy were over. The public confrontation that shook the whole hood. The tension that had been building between Blacc Sam and all the industry cats he viewed as disloyal to Nipsey's memory finally exploded in March 2025 at what was supposed to be a triumphant moment. Instead of just being a celebration, the grand opening of Marathon Burger became the stage for a confrontation that would send shockwaves throughout the entire hip-hop community and validate everything Sam had been saying about loyalty and betrayal in these streets. Marathon Burger, located at 7507 Melrose Avenue, opened its doors on March 1st, 2025, as a realization of a dream Hustle and Blacc Sam shared from their days working together in a restaurant during their youth. This wasn't just another business move. This was the physical manifestation of everything Nipsey stood for: economic empowerment, community investment, and proving that niggas from the hood could build legitimate businesses that served their people. The grand opening was a significant event, drawing fans, community members, and notable figures like radio host Big Boy and LA City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson. The whole hood was out there showing love, lines wrapped around the block with people wanting to be part of this historic moment. The energy was positive, everybody celebrating the continuation of Nipsey's vision. But among all the genuine supporters was somebody whose presence would trigger an explosive situation that would be caught on camera and viewed millions of times, forever changing how people understood Sam's commitment to protecting his brother's legacy. The cat at the center of all this drama was Rockstar 2800, a rapper allegedly affiliated with the West Boulevard Crips, a subgroup of the larger Crips gang. Now, what made his presence particularly disrespectful wasn't just who this fool was, but who he was connected to, and what he had failed to do when those connections started disrespecting Nipsey's memory. In the streets, loyalty ain't just about what you do, it's also about what you don't do when the time comes to stand up. When Sam spotted Rockstar 2800 in the crowd, he approached him, and what happened next was a masterclass in controlled street justice. Sam's anger was evident to anybody with eyes, but he showed restraint that prevented the situation from turning into something that could have devastated everyone involved, including his new business venture. But make no mistake, his message was crystal clear to everybody watching.
You know how this guy go. I mean, yo, watch your chain, bro. That's the part of my gang go. No, that ain't what you want, nigga. That ain't, because I've been giving, I've been watching, nigga. That ain't what you want. That ain't what you want, nigga. No, get on that. Get that's what all my niggas are. Hey, watch out, watch out. No, listen, don't come with it when it's life and act like shit, it's just when the niggas like some around. The niggas talking about bro, get cracked.
The raw emotion and street authority in Sam's voice as he checked Rockstar 2800 revealed the depth of his frustration with fake niggas who wanted to benefit from association with Nipsey's legacy without being willing to defend it when it was under attack. This wasn't just about one person showing up to an event. This was about what that presence represented in terms of loyalty, respect, and the codes that govern street relationships. The confrontation reportedly stemmed from Rockstar 2800's failure to defend hustle against disrespect, possibly related to comments made by others, including music manager Wack 100. Now, anybody who really knows the streets understands that Wack 100, who has had a contentious relationship with Blacc Sam since Hustle's death, made controversial comments about Nipsey post-murder, including downplaying Hustle's impact. In gang culture, when somebody disrespects a member of your crew, especially a deceased one who can't defend himself, you're expected to check that person, to step to them and let them know that type of disrespect won't be tolerated. But Rockstar 2800 had allegedly failed to do this when Wack 100 made his sideways comments about Nipsey. To Sam, this wasn't just a personal failing. This was a violation of the street codes that demand loyalty even after death, especially after death.
I'm about broke, nigga. Show me though. I don't know. Demonstration. You talking with smaller niggas disrespecting, bro. Did you get cracked? Did you get cracked? Did you get cracked? My niggas getting cracked. That's what I'm talking about. Don't get all be cool with me.
When Sam kept repeating "get cracking," he wasn't just using street slang. He was issuing a direct challenge and demanding action. Sam was essentially saying that if you're going to be around the Marathon family, if you're going to benefit from association with Nipsey's legacy and show up at his family's events, then you need to be willing to defend that legacy when it's under attack. You can't just be present for the good times while staying silent during the disrespect. But perhaps most importantly for understanding the bigger picture, the incident revealed the broader context of Sam's frustrations with industry figures like Snoop Dogg. If he was willing to publicly check Rockstar 2800 for failing to defend Nipsey against Wack 100's disrespect, what did that say about his feelings towards Snoop, who had maintained relationships with figures like Big U despite the family's suspicion? The Marathon Burger incident wasn't just about one fake rapper. It was a warning shot to the entire industry about what Sam expected from anybody claiming to love his brother. The aftermath of the confrontation showed exactly where the street stood on this issue. Rockstar 2800 initially responded to the altercation with a dismissive Instagram post stating, "Damn, all AN ass did was a burger," which many interpreted as downplaying the situation and drew criticism for lacking respect. This type of response showed that he still didn't understand the severity of what he had done or the position he had put himself in. But the public reaction was immediate and overwhelming in Sam's favor, proving that the streets recognized real when they saw it. Social media reactions included support for Sam, with one ex-user writing, "Blacc Sam really lost his brother. You think he playing with anybody? Leave that man alone and let him run his business. Continue his brother legacy." The hip-hop community, especially the people who really understood street politics, rallied behind Sam because they recognized that his actions came from genuine pain and legitimate frustration with the lack of accountability in the industry. Once Rockstar 2800 realized the magnitude of his mistake and saw how the entire community was reacting, he issued a public apology on the No Jumper podcast on March 11th, 2025, acknowledging his emotional reaction and expressing respect for Blacc Sam's efforts to preserve Nipsey's legacy. He stated, "I was overwhelmed by a mix of emotions due to the embarrassment I felt. I reacted out of frustration and that wasn't the right move. I respect Blacc Sam and what he's done for Nip's legacy. But by then, the damage was already done. And more importantly, the message had been delivered loud and clear." The incident had served as a public announcement to the entire hip-hop community. Sam was watching every move. He was keeping track of who was loyal and who was just fronting. And he wasn't going going to tolerate any more disrespect toward his brother's memory, regardless of who it came from or what the potential consequences might be. The confrontation also highlighted the complex and potentially dangerous dynamics that were still playing out in the aftermath of Nipsey's death. Experts noted that the incident reflected the deep emotional and cultural weight of Nipsey Hussle's legacy in Los Angeles, particularly in the South Central community. Hussle was not only a rapper but a visionary who invested in his neighborhood through ventures like the Marathon Clothing Store and Vector 90, a co-working space aimed at fostering opportunity. The whole situation also served as a stark reminder of how similar it was to the confrontation that led to Nipsey's death in the first place. Just like Eric Holder had felt disrespected by Nipsey's comments about snitching allegations, Rockstar 2800 found himself publicly embarrassed by Sam's confrontation. The parallels were impossible to ignore and deeply troubling to anybody who understood the potential consequences of such public humiliation in street culture. But Sam's actions weren't just reactive, they were strategic, designed to send a message about the future and establish new standards for how Nipsey's legacy would be protected going forward. By confronting Rockstar 2800 by calling out what he saw as fake loyalty, Sam was establishing boundaries and expectations for anyone who wanted to be associated with Nipsey's legacy in the future. The stage was now set for even more significant confrontations, including the ones that would ultimately force industry legends like Snoop Dogg to confront uncomfortable questions about their own loyalties and associations. But to understand how Sam reached this point of absolute commitment to protecting his brother's legacy at any cost, we need to go back to the beginning, to the bond between two brothers that was so strong it would ultimately reshape how loyalty and family are defined in hip-hop culture, the unbreakable bond that changed hip-hop forever. To really understand why Sam went so hard on industry cats and why he's willing to check anybody from unknown rappers to legends like Snoop Dogg, we gotta take it back to the foundation, to a brotherhood so solid and unbreakable that even death couldn't destroy it. The story of why Sam refuses to let anybody play with his brother's name can only be understood through the lens of a relationship that redefined what family loyalty looks like in these streets. The bond between Nipsey Hussle and his older brother, Samuel Blacc Sam Asghedom, wasn't just typical sibling love. It was the blueprint for how two young black men from the hood could build an empire while staying true to their roots and each other. This relationship was the source of the uncompromising standards that Sam now demands from everyone who claims to have loved his little brother. While Nipsey would eventually become the face of the Marathon brand and the one everybody recognized, it was Blacc Sam who served as the muscle, the strategist, and the street-smart guardian who made sure his little brother could focus on his artistic vision without having to constantly watch his back. Sam was not only a brother but a father figure when Hussle navigated gang life, taking hits so Ermias could focus on his music. This wasn't just casual support or typical big brother protection. This was a calculated decision where Sam would absorb all the street-level heat and consequences so that Nipsey could have the freedom to pursue his dreams without being constantly pulled back into the dangers of hood politics. It was the type of sacrifice that only real family makes for each other.
It's my cousin's birthday, so the night before, Nip took us to Wally's. Me, Pops, and Adam. You know, family there, chopping it, and just us four. When he walked out, we all walked out the back room of Wally's. One of the guys that filmed the video just happened to be there.
This clip represents one of the last real moments between the brothers, a seemingly regular family dinner that would become priceless in hindsight.
And so he pulled it up and he like, man, look at this, bro. You look amazing, bro. You about to do movies after this. Look at this shot. And so Hussle seen it, and Hussle was smiling, Hussle was happy. He's like, man, he's telling him like, bro, ain't no more small time. And after this, going out the roof. And so, you know, we was all happy and shook hands with them, and then we left. And that was the last interaction, bro.
The pain in Sam's voice as he recalls this final moment with his brother speaks to a relationship that went far beyond blood. It was a partnership built on shared dreams and mutual dependence that made Nipsey's loss not just personal, but the destruction of everything they had built together over decades. Their childhood was marked by shared struggles, including their father's absence at times and their mother's spiritual influence. Both brothers got put on with the rolling 60s neighborhood Crips as teenagers, but while Nipsey started leaning toward music, Sam stayed deeper in the street life, often serving as his younger brother's protection against the various threats that came with their environment. The business partnership between the brothers represented a revolutionary approach to black ownership and economic independence that challenged how things had always been done in the music industry. Sam was Hussle's business partner, co-founding Marathon Clothing and managing its operations at 3420 West Slauson Avenue. But this wasn't just about making money. Their innovative approach to music distribution, including selling mixtapes for $100 and $1,000 $100,000 respectively, was about proving that artists could maintain ownership and control without bowing down to the traditional industry structure. Sam handled logistics, security, and street credibility, while Hustle focused on creative direction. This division of labor wasn't just practical, it was strategic, allowing Nipsey to maintain his artistic integrity, while Sam managed the more dangerous aspects of their operations, from street politics to business negotiations that could turn deadly. But Sam's most crucial role was as Nipsey's personal security and protector, and it was in this capacity that his greatest failure and his lifelong burden would occur. Sam described the security protocol at the Marathon clothing store, where armed team members typically stood at the doorway when Hustle arrived. On the day of the murder, a Sunday when the store was busy, this protocol was not followed, possibly due to staff assisting customers as part of their transition to a legitimate retail operation. But Sam's analysis of what went down that day reveals something much more sinister than just a simple security breakdown. His detailed examination of Eric Holder's actions paints a picture of premeditation that suggests the murder was way more calculated than some spontaneous act of violence from a heated moment.
And from my understanding, old boy walked up with no shirt on first to check the scene, because he knows what's going on in that parking lot. And had a conversation, probably seen nobody was in the doorways, checked Hustle had on shorts, checked everybody else, left. They say came back with a red shirt on, tiptoed through the alley and went right and started shooting.
This isn't just a grieving brother trying to make sense of senseless violence. This is a street-smart individual breaking down the tactical elements of his brother's assassination. Sam's observation about the red shirt is particularly telling and shows his deep understanding of gang culture and street politics that most people wouldn't catch.
So to me, that's premeditated. Number one, there's no red shirts in the hood. You can't buy no red shirt. No liquor store sell no red shirt. Number two, when a nigga come through the alley with a red shirt, that's the throw off, or the Bloods did it, or the Inglewood families did it, or the BPS. That's the throw off, red shirt.
This detail, the deliberate use of a red shirt in Crip territory, suggests something way more calculated than a crime of passion. In gang culture, colors ain't just fashion choices. They're declarations of war, or in this case, potentially tools of deception. Sam's analysis suggests that Holder may have been deliberately trying to implicate rival gangs or create confusion about who was really behind the murder and why. But Sam's burden goes way beyond just understanding the tactical elements of how his brother died. He's had to carry the weight of feeling responsible for not being there when Nipsey needed him most, a failure that haunts every decision he's made since that tragic day. In a 2024 interview with Big Boy, Sam shared his guilt over security lapses during the murder, saying, "I was supposed to be at the door. That's on me." The morning of March 31st, 2019 started like any other Sunday, but it would end in tragedy that would transform Sam from a behind-the-scenes business partner into a relentless guardian of his brother's legacy who refuses to let anyone disrespect Nipsey's name.
Sunday, what was that morning like for you, Sam?
Phone just going crazy, man. It woke me up, and I picked the phone up, and forget who called me, man. I just hear people screaming in the background, and they like, man, bro got shot.
The raw emotion in Sam's voice as he recalls that moment speaks to a pain that goes beyond losing a brother. It's the pain of someone who feels they failed in their most fundamental duty as a protector, as the person whose entire role in their partnership was to keep Nipsey safe from exactly this type of situation.
So I just immediately just run out the house and just jet out the door. My grandma was in the living room watching TV, so she seen me run out, didn't close the door, just got in the car. My grandma's on 5th in Slauson, so the shop is maybe like 6 blocks away. So I just ran every light, every stop sign, and I get there, and man, it's just going crazy, man.
This desperate rush to the scene represents not just a brother's panic, but a protector's frantic attempt to fulfill a duty that was already too late. It was the moment when Sam realized that all the security protocols he had put in place, all the protection he had provided for years, had failed at the most crucial moment. The transformation of Sam from business partner to estate administrator speaks to the depth of their relationship and the trust that Nipsey had placed in his older brother throughout their lives. After Hustle's murder, Sam became the administrator of his estate, valued at $4 to $11 million. But this wasn't just about managing money and business arrangements. It was about carrying on a vision that the brothers had developed together over decades of struggle and success. Sam settled debts, for example, $31,000 to Paramount, $46,000 to Amex, and secured $2 million each for Hustle's children, Imani and Cross. These weren't just financial transactions. They were acts of love and responsibility, ensuring that Nipsey's children would benefit from their father's hard work and that his business partners would be taken care of properly. But perhaps most importantly, Sam became became the ultimate guardian of Nipsey's artistic and cultural legacy, refusing to let anyone profit from his brother's name without meeting the same standards of loyalty and authenticity that defined their relationship. Sam faced a 2020 lawsuit from Crips LLC over the Marathon Continues trademark, but settled it in 2021, preserving the brand. This legal battle represented more than just intellectual property. It was about who had the right to control and profit from Nipsey's message and philosophy. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, take a look at the cards appearing on your screen.